All right, people, we're going to start off the new year with some just straight up drama. If you're ready to argue, I'm ready to argue. This right here is unpopular opinions of a videographer. Now, when I say videographer, let me explain. I do a lot of live events, so whether that is concerts, whether that is weddings, I do some corporate interview work, a lot of kind of small teams, kind of single camera operators, not a whole lot of cinematography, if you will. So when I say videographer, think small cameras, think handheld work, think 1 to 2 to 3 videographers all working together, coming home, editing highlight reel type of videos, highlights of events, things like that. So let's jump right into it. This is my unpopular opinions video. Number 1, first things first, right off the bat, lens caps are useless. Now, I know what you're thinking, this is a troll video, but it's honestly not. I don't use lens caps. I never have used lens caps. Every lens I've ever purchased since my first lens in 2016, 2017, I've never used a lens cap. Now, I use the back cap most of the time if it's just a lens and it's just together, but when lenses are being used, obviously don't use a lens cap, and then when they're not being used, they go in the camera bag, and typically the end of the lens is up against some sort of felt or some sort of fabric. I've never used a lens cap for any variable ND filters I use, any lenses I use. I just don't. I think they're useless. I've never scratched a lens. Just throw those things away. They're not worth it. There's so many of them. They all click in so many different ways. They just toss them out. That's my opinion. Now, number 2 on the list, your turnaround times, they matter much more than you think they do, especially when it comes to weddings. From what I've seen, the industry standard is a 12-week turnaround time, and golly, that is far too long. I know some professionals in my area who literally take 3 to 6 months to return a wedding film, and number 1, I can't sit on a wedding film for that long because holy moly, just having a backlog like that is just insane. Number 2, I'm married, and I remember my wife, freshly married, checking her email every day to see if her wedding photos were delivered, and seeing our photographer doing cool things online and just wondering where our photos were. Same thing goes with video. And even that, I think our turnaround time was right at 8 weeks, maybe, for the photos. So your turnaround times matter. Keep your clients on a priority. I know some of you guys have long backlogs and are a lot bigger companies than I ever will be, but turnaround times matter. So think about that with your clients. Sometimes when I film a project and the client asks, oh, like when will we get that back? And I say by the end of the week, they are just flabbergasted, mind blown. Most of the time, that's how we roll because most projects don't take that long. You just have a long backlog. So clean up your backlogs, turn around those projects quicker. Obviously, there's some projects that take a long time because the client's fault. But when it comes to wedding films, when it comes to things like that, just make your turnaround times faster. That's all. Easy as that. Number 3, and this one's fairly simple. Most of videography has absolutely nothing to do with your talent as a videographer. Most of turning this into a full-time income and actually growing and creating is all based around who you know and how you get to know them and how good you are at sending emails and how good you are at communication with clients. Because most of the time, your corporate clients, they don't have a clue who you are, how good you are. They don't even have a clue what the difference between good and bad is. And all they're looking for is somebody who's reliable, who will respond to emails, who will get the project done they need to get done, and then send it on their way. That's how I got started, especially it's how you get started as a beginner. Just make those connections, grow those connections, and you can learn from there. You don't have to get perfectly good before you start selling. You can start selling tomorrow and then work on your skills as you grow. But if you can sell video, if you can sell your services, if you can sell yourself, you're gonna make it in this field. It's not that hard. You got it. All right, unpopular opinion number 4. And that is that Final Cut Pro is absolutely fantastic. I know over the years, Adobe Premiere has been the industry standard, and then 2 or 3 years ago, everybody started switching to Resolve because of their phenomenal color things. Let's be real. 83% of y'all don't have a clue how to use either of those 2 programs to their fullest, and all you're doing is just cutting basic video and sending it. And Final Cut Pro is the best program on the market for quick turnarounds and just fast edits. The program is super reliable. It actually works. There are no crashes. It auto saves. Final Cut's fantastic. Quit sleeping on it because it is a fantastic program and a very professional program. I know a lot of people look at it as, oh, Final Cut's an iMovie Pro, and then if you really want to be a pro, you got to do DaVinci or Premiere. It's not the case. I make a lot of money in Final Cut Pro, and I love Final Cut Pro. So quit sleeping on Final Cut. It's also the cheapest program out there. So there's that. Don't sleep on Final Cut. All right, unpopular opinion. Number 5, off-brand camera batteries are fantastic. Sure, maybe, I don't know. I know some Canon users out there would disagree because Canon has a terrible off-brand battery system. But in all of my Sony cameras for all of the years, the only actual Sony OEM batteries I own are the ones that have come with the 6 or 7 Sony bodies that I've bought throughout the years. Everything else is the cheapest of cheap 4-pack on Amazon Sony batteries, and they all work just fantastic. Even in this camera right now, there's an off-brand Sony battery in there. Most of the time, the Sony batteries are $80 a pop, and you can get a 4-pack with a charger for like $50 on Amazon. I posted a thread about this recently and got roasted a lot in the comments because everybody's like, oh, you've never had a battery swell inside of your camera. And they're not wrong. I've been shooting for 8 years now and have never had any sort of issues with my off-brand batteries. They're still lasting. They're still good. I've actually never even had one die. We own 30-something batteries among my Sony cameras here, and no problems at all. So buy the off-brand batteries. I think the off-brand batteries are bad for your camera thing. It's just a myth that was started by the camera manufacturers. So forget those people, buy the off-brand. Number 6, and I've talked about it before on this channel. I'm a big user of the Rode Wireless Pro that has the 2 transmitters and the receiver. I don't ever turn on the receiver. I throw that thing in the bag. I never worry about the receiver. I use them as standalone recorders because my unpopular opinion is that 90% of videographers do not need wireless audio. If you know how to place a lav mic properly and you know where your lavs are and you trust your lavs, then the chances of monitoring that audio, you really don't need to do. I slap lavs on all kinds of people throughout an event, throughout a wedding day, throughout a live event, and I know how to link it in post. I don't have to sit there and monitor with any headphones or send wireless audio to the camera. Because also, if you're sending wireless audio to the camera and the camera's plugged in, that means if your audio pack goes out or you lose signal or something, you lost it in both. You don't have a backup on a shotgun camera. You don't have any sort of extra audio. So most of y'all don't need wireless audio. That's my unpopular opinion. I'm sticking by it. I know there's people also on threads who are arguing about this as well with like, oh, you got to monitor your audio, blah, blah, blah. I get it on big productions and stuff. If you have an audio guy, yeah, sure, that person can probably monitor the audio. But as a single camera operator, videographer, put the lav mics on, know how to place them, learn how to place a good lav, and you don't have to monitor that thing. There's no point. That's an unpopular opinion, I know, but just stick with me here. Unpopular opinion number 7. For all my wedding videographers out there, especially my wedding videographers that are just getting started, platforms like The Knot and Wedding Wire are absolutely fantastic. Now, I am no longer a paid subscriber to any of these platforms because honestly, I think we just got too big and too expensive because these platforms are very, 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 very good for those kind of lower end, just starting out videographers or just people who offer cheaper wedding videos. When we were priced at $1,500 a wedding video to around like the $2,500 to $3,200 range, like The Knot was bringing in 50% of our business throughout the year. When we crossed over above the $4,000 range for wedding videography, The Knot very much was not doing a very good job at all. So all that to say, people hate on The Knot because it's a paid subscription where you're paid to be on the front page and all this stuff. But like, it kind of set my business up for success many years ago, and it's kind of built the foundation of being a wedding videographer and how that is. Obviously there's a lot. I've got a whole video on this that I posted a year or so ago that's like kind of dives into how it actually works, whether you got to be near some sort of city where people actually get married, you have to be near some form of area where weddings are popular, and your pricing has to be lower than most. So all that to say, people hate on The Knot because they get on there and they're an experienced wedding videographer with high pricing and then start paying for The Knot and it does nothing. Well, it makes sense. Your clientele aren't on The Knot. Your clientele are with wedding planners in the bigger cities. But the big thing here is The Knot is fantastic for people who are starting out or for people who are just cheap. So get on The Knot, sign up. It's incredible. They didn't pay me to say this. I have no affiliates at The Knot whatsoever. But things like that are just another unpopular opinion that I have as a videographer. So let's run through them from the start. Number one, lens caps. Absolutely useless. I throw them all in the, I don't really throw them away, but they just get thrown somewhere. Couldn't tell you where a lens cap is if I needed to. Number two, your turnaround times. They matter a whole lot, so get your turnaround times quicker and actually start delivering projects when people are excited about it, because the chances are when they film, they're pretty excited about it, and when they get that video back, they're pretty excited about it, and they're more likely to book again. So your turnaround times definitely matter. Number three, it's not really about your talent. You can work on your talent. Your talent's good, yes, and the more you work, the more, but it's all about who you know. It's all about the value that you can provide to your clients and who you know and how to book those projects quicker. So start meeting people, start reaching out, start sending some emails. Number four, Final Cut is fantastic. Number five, off-brand camera batteries are also fantastic. You won't have any issues with that. If you do, I'd love to actually know about it below in the comments. Number six, wireless audio is the fad these days, but you really don't need it. I'd rather record to the pack 100% of the time. And number seven is that the Knot, Wedding Wire, companies like that for wedding videographers, it's actually fantastic. So here's the deal, all right? If you disagreed with all of these or none of these or some of these, I would love to know about it below. Let me know your opinion, because this is my channel, this is my opinions, but also I would love to know your opinion because I think it's important. I really enjoy getting into conversations with people in the comment section. Every single video, every single comment I've ever had on this channel, I've responded to it because I'm interested in learning. I'm interested in learning from you. I'm interested in learning how you operate. Do you use lens caps? Do you love Final Cut? Do you hate lens caps? Do you hate Final Cut? Let me know in the description below, comments below. Anyways, happy 2025. I'm looking forward to this YouTube channel and seeing all what we can do in the year 2025. So I will see you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.